New details rise following a deadly shooting in Mervo High School's parking lot. What we're learning about the suspect and victim as another young life is cut short.
Because we can't keep seeing this over and over and over again. There are too many young people that are being harmed in our city.
Mayor Brandon Scott has been vocal about the role of community outreach in stopping crime. His thoughts after a tragic day for city schools.
And we're off to a nice and dry start to the day, but we're looking at our next chance for showers and storms on Labor Day. I'll break down the timing coming up.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. It is Sunday and it is also a holiday weekend. It's September 4th. I'm Shannon Lilly. We want to get right over to your forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine, it was a little bit humid when I stepped outside this morning.
Yeah, Shannon, that's right. We are talking more humid days, at least today, and we're also talking hotter temperatures with highs getting very close to 90 degrees. We'll get some relief from the heat tomorrow, but that does mean that we have rain on the way. Currently, we're nice and dry, sitting at 67 over Towson with partly cloudy skies and calm winds. We're off to a nice and quiet start to the morning here and across the rest of the state. We're mainly seeing temperatures in the 60s and a few areas in the low 70s, but these numbers will continue to rise throughout the afternoon. Now we're keeping watch on this cold front. This is our next weather maker. It will lead to our next chance for showers and storms, but that comes tomorrow. Today we stay nice and dry, so it looks good if you're spending any time outside, maybe going for a walk or run. Temperatures reach the upper 80s and low 90s with heat indices in the low 90s. Coming up, I'll break down the timing of the rain tomorrow in my full forecast. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. The victim has been identified in Friday's deadly shooting outside Mervo High School. A 17-year-old is now charged with his murder. Police are still investigating what sparked the fatal encounter between two teenage students. Riel Creighton has the latest details.
Investigators combing the campus Friday, a community in mourning. Tonight, as the victim of a deadly daytime shooting here at Mervo High, known to most as Mervo, is identified. Another student sharing this picture of Jeremiah Brogdon, the 17-year-old shot in the parking lot of his high school. The junior football player, his team tweeting out this message. Our hearts are heavy today as we mourn the loss of our student athlete Jeremiah Brogdon. Senseless and unexplainable. Just after 2:30, his murder at Mervo happening right at dismissal. A 15-year-old telling us off camera they watched it all unfold.
Someone shooting, and I just saw the kids like dispersed all over the place. They were just running from here and there, left and right. So I'm just looking like, and I didn't see anyone, I mean, just kids running.
People who live near the school describing the panic that broke out in the moments after the gunfire. A 17-year-old student who attended a different high school, now charged with first-degree murder. Fox 45 News is not identifying him because of his age. Police say he confronted Brogdon outside after a brief encounter, pulled a gun and fired. Witnesses say the teen was shot in the head as the suspect fled. City Schools police already on school grounds, catching him within minutes. They also recovered a gun.
Beyond tragic, happening on the grounds of a school.
City and school officials flooding this scene Friday.
In the beginning of the school year as school is open.
Emotion high.
This is a tragedy that almost has me at a loss for words.
The same high school Mayor Brandon Scott graduated from.
A school full of children who are crying yet again because they lost another classmate.
Mervo students calling it a high-security school with a history of violence. Now, so many of them witnesses, kids facing the trauma, the murder of a teenager, a fellow student, to mark the end to the first week of school.
City Schools CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises said the school's safety plan was in place at the time of the shooting, which is why police were able to catch the suspect so quickly. Meantime, she also says grief counselors will be in place at the school. A 14-year-old boy is dead and another child injured after a shooting Friday night in Pikesville, not far from Milford Mill Academy. As students and parents speak out on the tragic news coming at the end of the first full week of classes, Maxine Stryker reports.
Around the corner from Milford Mill Academy.
I feel like it's just so messed up.
It's just so messed up.
Police say a 14-year-old boy was shot and killed, and another young boy was injured last night around 9:30 along Liberty Road and Washington Avenue.
What we do know is that the incident occurred after the football game.
Police say the school's football game had ended when the shooting occurred.
This 14-year-old boy just lost his life after a game. It's just so, it just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense whatsoever.
One student and her mother, who didn't want to be identified, are left stunned.
Not just seeing police just, pressing down on his body, trying to bring him back, and it was a lot of children.
This mother says her 14-year-old son was friends with the victim.
I'm just speechless by everything that happened.
And her daughter is also a student at Milford Mill.
That could have been my little brother.
We asked Baltimore City Schools if the victim was a student. We are waiting to hear back.
He's very young. He had his whole life.
Meantime, this mother is left worrying for her children's safety.
I'm afraid to send my 14-year-old back to school this week coming up.
Now, we've also received an update on a separate event happening Friday night at a Tholton High School in Columbia. The school's principal says a metal fence and sign were knocked down as students left the football game, which some people mistook for gunfire. Police say there were no serious injuries, but they did cancel the remainder of the game. The driver of a pickup truck is dead following a crash on the outer loop of I-695 in Pikesville last Friday night. Police say the truck veered off the road and hit a disabled tractor trailer, at which point both vehicles caught fire. The tractor trailer driver was not hurt. A shooting in Minnesota causes the state fair to close early. Coming up, the latest details of what police know so far.
And we're in for another warm day with temperatures above average, but we are in for cooler temperatures starting tomorrow. I'll let you know how cool it gets and how long those temperatures last coming up in my Weather Authority forecast.
Making headlines this morning, one person is dead and 4 others are injured following a shooting in PG County. Police say someone opened fire inside a 7-Eleven last night. Currently, there is no word on the shooter. In Minnesota, the state fair closes early after a shooting. Hundreds of people were seen fleeing the Midway after the gunfire yesterday. Police say one person was shot and was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Governor Tim Walz tweeted his appreciation to law enforcement for responding to those reports of violence. Download the Fox 45 News app for breaking news, up-to-the-minute traffic conditions, school closings, and weather anytime. Just search WBFF in your app store. 5 Baltimore mothers bonded by what they call failures from city schools. How they're fighting for change is coming up. It's 7:10. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Project Baltimore is sponsored by the Snyder Law Group. Call 410 the Firm.
5 Baltimore mothers who say city schools has failed their children have now joined forces. As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, these mothers say it's now up to them to make sure their children and others with disabilities get the education they need because the school system just isn't doing it.
Hey! There she is. Hey, Patrice.
Just weeks ago, these women had never met.
So what's going on, beautiful ladies?
Now they speak every day, texting, calling, on Zoom.
You be on the road, so.
Laughing together after months of feeling alone.
And I like the fact that we do hit each other up just to say hi.
Right. In the morning, first thing in the morning, you know, good morning, beautiful, good morning, sisters.
They are strangers who formed a sisterhood, united by the one thing they all have in common.
And I find it comforting in a very messed up way that, you know, we're all going through this and we're all like coming together.
Are you picking up a Quante?
It started when Latasha Phillips came to Project Baltimore in May looking for help.
I didn't know what else to do. So that was just like, for me, that was like my last resort, which actually I'm glad that I did it.
Her son, Quante Spearman, had missed the first 140 days of school at Connections, a high school in West Baltimore. The district could not provide him with a nurse, which he is required to have. But despite missing the first 7 months of class, Quante's report card from March showed he was given grades he didn't earn and marked present when he wasn't there.
Because had I not done it, you ladies would still be somewhere stuck, you know, and accepting something that wasn't right, not knowing what to do.
She didn't know it at the time, but Latasha's decision to come forward would inspire 4 other mothers to do the same.
It was just amazing that quick, you know, somebody saw that story and said, wait a minute, you know, oh my gosh, the same thing is happening to me.
One by one, they came to Project Baltimore with similar stories. 5 mothers who say their children missed a significant amount of school this past school year because city schools could not fully accommodate their disabilities. Yet all of them received report cards with grades and attendance they didn't earn.
And with this village, we can make those changes. So I'm like, y'all got the wrong moms. Like,
hopefully this group of us, of what we're trying to do, can give more people the courage to come out, you know, and speak up, because it's definitely not just us.
And they're right. It's not just them. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, a federal law passed in 1975, ensures that students with disabilities receive a free, appropriate public education. According to the Maryland State Department of Education, Baltimore City is among the school districts in Maryland with the most IDEA violations. Between 2017 and 2022, city schools had 62 complaints filed, mostly by parents. In 50 of them, at least one violation was found. Montgomery County had 67. Baltimore County had 68. In Maryland, Prince George's County had the most, with 189 complaints resulting in a violation.
It's okay, just keep going.
Whitney Davis recently filed her own complaint on behalf of her son with epilepsy, and the state found a violation occurred.
If it's an injustice to me, it's an injustice to all of us.
Inspired by Davis, the other moms on this call have since filed disability complaints on behalf of their sons.
It's unfortunate, but I'm glad that now I have y'all, my sisters, and I'm glad to know that I have a better support system.
Yeah.
Right.
Despite 5 students from 4 schools who say they were given false grades in attendance, Baltimore City Schools has offered few answers. The district won't do an interview with Project Baltimore, but these mothers say they won't stop.
And I'm like, no, you're going to hurt me now, because I know I'm not alone.
Now you can say, I got my sisters now. I'm coming full force. I got backup.
Until they know their children are getting the education they need.
We just got to stick together.
I'm Chris Pabst.
Well, it was good seeing y'all.
Definitely.
All right. Bye.
See y'all later.
And this is Project Baltimore.
Our Project Baltimore team has been looking into the failures within some Baltimore City public schools for years. You can find all of their reporting on our website. That's foxbaltimore.com/Project Baltimore. Now we want to get over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a check of the forecast. And Jasmine, we've had a couple of really nice days. So I think the big question is it going to look like that for the rest of today and tomorrow? Can we be outside?
Well, today looks pretty good. So for anyone trying to enjoy the last unofficial weekend of summer, it does look good today. It'll be hot with highs in the upper 80s, but then things change tomorrow as our next weather maker arrives. That means more rain for us. 67 currently over the harbor with nice and calm winds and partly cloudy skies in the background. Across the rest of the state, most of us seeing temperatures in the 60s. We have a few 70s. Annapolis, Westminster, Bel Air, all around 72 right now. And these numbers are going to quickly heat up this afternoon. We're looking at highs reaching the mid to upper 80s, some spots even getting very close to that 90-degree number. And unfortunately, it is going to be a little bit sticky at times. You will need the fans today. Then tomorrow we have our next round for showers and storms. That'll be followed by a stretch of cooler days. But unfortunately, with those cool temperatures, we also have the chance for showers. This is what we're watching, this cold front that's moving across parts of the country. You can see a few showers ahead of that. We're not worried about that today, but tomorrow, as that gets closer, we are looking at the chance for a few spotty showers and storms. Today, though, we stay mostly cloudy with a few clouds moving in as we head into the afternoon. Then, making our way overnight, we stay mostly dry. As we wake up in the morning, still looking at mostly dry conditions. Then by the afternoon, there's the chance for a few isolated showers around 3 p.m. Rain chances will continue to increase overnight and then into the day on Tuesday. That's really when you will need your umbrellas, but still tomorrow, if you have any plans to be outside, just make sure that you're keeping watch on the radar and have a backup plan to move indoors in case there is thunder and lightning. As we head through the middle of the week, our rain chances increase. Then by the weekend, we're looking at mostly dry conditions along with rising temperatures. Today, we're hitting a high of 89. We do stay dry for much of the day, but it's tomorrow when we do have the chance for a few isolated showers. Tonight, temperatures fall to 70 with partly cloudy skies. It'll be a little bit muggy at times. We're going to keep the humidity even as we head into the day tomorrow. Notice temperatures only around 86. That's still above average for this time of year. But then 80 on Tuesday. That's our next chance for rain. 81 on Wednesday with the chance for scattered showers. Then heading into Thursday, our temperatures start to rise and we start to dry out. 83 for that temperature, 86 on Friday, 87 and mostly dry by Saturday. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Jasmine. The Maryland State Fair rolls on, and we are getting a taste of the action. Some of the award-winning dishes from a delicious day in Timonium. Plus, world-class athletes are showcasing their talents in Baltimore, and that is happening today. What Maryland leaders hope to gain from hosting some of cycling's best. It is 7:21. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Weekend number 2 of the Maryland State Fair is rolling on, and it's all about the ponies. In fact, our friends over at Horseland brought a few of their favorites to the fair, and that gave people an up-close look at what it takes to raise horses and prepare them to race. Well, our Amy Aronson caught up with Don Lintz from Horseland to talk about that fair experience.
The main theme is for children to interact with animals, maybe for the first time in their lives.
Of course, I know you guys are about the same size. This little pony and this little girl here, they are so cute. And of course, we know this little guy wants to get back with his mama. They are bonded. You said you can find them in the same stall when you walk through.
You can see them. You can see them at the same stall. We have a lot of giveaways, stick horses for children to make, a lot of activities for children.
Oh my gosh, so cute. My dog is bigger than that pony. It's adorable. Well, so plenty of cool things to check out, but what if you want something to eat? Of course, we've got you covered. Amy also caught up with the guys from the Maryland Food Pavilion to check out some of the award-winning food that's being offered at today's festivities.
We won first place in the whole, this is a whole new thing for the Food Pavilion this year, coming up with something different. This is an open-faced grilled cheese sandwich with fried green tomatoes and a peach corn salsa.
Wow.
It's a meal all in itself.
I bet it is. Very clever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure lots went into preparing that.
Well, it took a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and we got some great people who work with us who put it together, and everybody seems to love it. People are coming every day. One lady here has bought one every day this week.
Wow,
yeah.
That's impressive. Okay,
it's really
awesome.
great.
Okay, we're moving down the line. Let's talk about these nachos. Introduce yourself to everybody at home.
My name's Jeff Martinez, and we run Charm City Flats here in the Maryland Food Pavilion. And we were looking to create something that people could share here at the fair, so we came up with Mountain Nacho. It's all three of our meats: pulled pork, chicken, and taco beef, cheese, and all the fixings, big enough for 3, 4, 5 people to share.
Whole family, yeah.
That looks delicious. Well, today, elite athletes will be descending on Baltimore to take part in the inaugural Maryland Cycling Classic. The field includes Olympians, Tour de France racers, and is expected to draw in big crowds. Taking a look at the 120-mile course, the race will start in Baltimore County, then drop into the city through Falls Road. Maryland's Secretary of Commerce says this event will showcase the state as an ideal host for world-class sporting events.
This is a big deal. You know, it's the Masters, it's the PGA for our country in the sport of cycling. And how important is that for all of us? So from a standpoint of Maryland and these big deal events, they're fabulous.
Yeah, and it all starts today at 1:30 p.m. The riders will arrive downtown around 6. If you can't see the race in person, we have got you covered. You can watch our special coverage of the race on the CW Baltimore. Parents growing irritated over a lack of transparency from Prince George's County schools, why they feel school leaders are not doing their jobs. And new details in the police response to the Uvalde mass shooting, how outdated radio may have played a role in the tragedy, and why leaders are staying silent. It's 7:27. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning. We are taking a live look over the Inner Harbor right now. Look how beautiful it looks this morning. A great and clear start to your Sunday morning. Well, we want to thank you for being here on this Sunday, September 4th. I'm Shannon Lilly. Now we want to get over to your forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine, it's a holiday weekend, so can people enjoy it outside?
Yes, today should be a great day to spend some time outside, especially if you like those hot summer temperatures. But tomorrow, if you do have Labor Day plans, things could get a little bit shaky as our next weather maker arrives. Today, though, we're starting off nice and quiet with temperatures at 67 over Towson. We've got partly cloudy skies in the background and calm winds. Across the rest of the state, we're mainly seeing those numbers in the 60s and in the low 70s. Annapolis at 72, along with Bel Air and Westminster seeing those numbers a little bit higher than the rest of the state. But as we head into the afternoon, we'll continue to warm. We're keeping track of this cold front. This is our next weather maker. You can see a few showers ahead of that. That's all heading our way tomorrow. So we do have the chance for a few Labor Day storms. I'll break down the timing of those storms and impacts to your plans coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jasmine. Now to the crisis in the classroom. At least a dozen guns were seized from city schools over the past year, including 4 ghost guns. But at a recent city council meeting to discuss school safety, the topic of guns was not brought up. So Fox 45 took those questions to council members, again, asking where leaders need to step up to help protect Baltimore's children. In a conversation with our Keith Daniels, Councilman Robert Stokes says the solution is not very simple.
So that has to come from Annapolis.
Right, but will you be pressuring the local school board to pressure those people in Annapolis?
I will call each individual on the school board and have a conversation with them about that. Absolutely.
Well, the devastating shooting comes as a shock for students during what should be a time of optimism. Shelley Orman looks at what Baltimore faith leaders believe can be done to stop the violence and save lives.
You can hear the panic.
This is school police. They're on the parking lot and they need a medic for a victim.
405, we are in the back parking lot of Mervo. We are on Tivoli in the back parking lot. He is shot in the head.
A Mervo High School student murdered in the school parking lot, shot by a student who police say attends a different school. The violence happening after an argument Friday as classes dismissed.
Both have enough of an argument that one goes and gets a gun, leaves their school, comes to another, and kills somebody in front of witnesses. Logic, ration, emotion, conscience, all of that is gone.
If we're talking about conflict resolution, if that's the justification and explanation for this young man's behavior and his choice, then conflict resolution is first learned in the home.
Shannon Wright and PM Smith are both pastors in Baltimore.
What is going on in our city that children, babies, still babies, are in a place where they think that's okay. That's the way to solve your problem.
As a result of this, you got 2 young men whose lives are lost, 2 mothers whose hearts are broken, 2 families who are destroyed by the loss of that death.
Both are calling for more from parents.
We need parents to step up.
Consequences for bad choices are learned in the family.
Parents need to parent, the police need to police, the teachers need to teach, and the leaders need to lead.
And both also say city leaders are failing.
They have shown that they are not up to the task. It is up to each of us individually as residents to be able to be a part of the solution. We need to make sure that we have school resource officers that are armed in the buildings. I know a lot of folks say we don't want that around our babies, but our babies are already bringing it into school, and prevention is better than cure.
Because this shooting happened outside the school, officers were armed. They're not allowed to carry guns inside the buildings.
If this assault had occurred 30 minutes earlier, the Baltimore City School Police would have been in the building without a weapon.
Pastor Smith says officers should be commended for their actions Friday.
They responded immediately. They caught the young man. They arrested him without incident. They secured the weapon. They cleared the murder scene and rendered assistance to the young man who was injured. Let the police, the school police do what they're willing to do. Stop handcuffing our police officers and let them do what they're willing to do. Our officers, our public office holders, are words and not action, and that's not enough.
Shelley Orman, Fox 45 News.
We don't have to be that way. We can be better. We don't have to wait for someone else to do something. We don't have to point the finger and say who else is going to do something. We don't have to wait or post something on social media about how bad things are. Get up, get out there, get involved, get off your ass, and get involved with these young people. Because we can't keep seeing this over and over and over again.
Mayor Brandon Scott, as you just heard, says violence prevention starts with more community outreach. The Mervo shooting isn't the first time we're hearing this kind of response from the mayor. He's promised to cut crime by 15% each year, but so far that has not happened.
People are just sick and tired of just words, of these pledges and promises and calls to action, using curse words to show your frustration. That doesn't make things better. And I think people are looking for an actual change in policy, for an actual change in results. And I just don't know that any of these murders shocks the conscience of our city leaders anymore.
That brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Brandon Scott is sending the right message to criminals in the city? So far, 99% of people who voted say no. You can weigh in by heading to foxbaltimore.com/vote. A new investigation into police radio is shining light on the police response to the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Investigators found Uvalde police had been aware about a faulty radio system since 2015, well before 19 children and 2 teachers were gunned down. The overworked system crashed when nearly 400 emergency responders descended on Robb Elementary School. The former head of Uvalde's 911 system says he tried to bring up the issue with county leaders and Texas Governor Greg Abbott, but problems came when leaders weren't willing to pay for the upgrades, and the issue extends beyond schools.
Can you walk into City Hall? Can you walk into your civic center and be able to communicate?
Short answer is no. We've tested this. We've been doing school walkthroughs prior to school start, and we've been taking our handheld radios. We've been testing them to make sure that we are capable of utilizing that system, and it is not functioning inside the schools right now.
Well, the system was built in 2003 as a response to the 9/11 attacks. It has not been upgraded. Still ahead, car thefts are fairly common, but you don't see a stolen plane every day. The threats made by a rogue pilot while he was high above the ground.
And September has been off to a hot start. We'll get a break from the heat starting tomorrow, but then we are back to those hot temperatures heading into the weekend. I'll break down how hot it gets coming up in my Weather Authority forecast.
Emergency officials are searching for more victims after at least 9 migrants died while trying to cross the Rio Grande River in Texas. The tragedy comes days after heavy rain, causing the river to rise more than 2 feet in just one day. 37 people were rescued from the river and 16 have been detained. Well, listen to this. A man in Mississippi faces charges of making terrorist threats after threatening to crash a plane into Walmart. Police say the man stole a small plane from a regional airport before calling 911 and making the threat. The man did not have a pilot's license, but police say he had been taking lessons. Negotiators convinced him to come down after several hours.
Absolutely, there's damage, but believe it or not, the aircraft is intact. We have reason to believe that he was very close to running out of fuel, and that's according to experts.
Wow. Well, the man worked as a fuel technician at the airport, giving him access to the planes. He is also expected to face federal charges. NASA's first moon mission in 50 years has been delayed for a second time. Officials say the Artemis rocket has another dangerous hydrogen leak. The rocket needs to be rolled off its launch pad to fix the problem, meaning it could be weeks before another launch date is set. After the break, we're barely a week in and the school issues are already piling up. How school leaders are hoping to adjust. It is 7:41. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Well, the new school year has begun, and the first week of school was hectic across Maryland. Now, more than 320,000 students are done with their first full week of classes. In Baltimore City, more than 20 schools dismissed early all week due to a lack of functioning AC units. City schools say all schools should have updated systems by the start of next school year. In Howard County, the addition of a 13th high school is being met with huge pushback from parents. 5 of the 12 current school zones will be impacted by that change. And all across the state, major teacher shortages and bus driver shortages are complicating the return to class.
We were anticipating hiring 90 bus drivers. We've hired over 40 thus far, and we have 32 in the pipeline. We've hired 14 bus attendants. So we're feeling good about those numbers.
Even just now gave me the chills. I mean, my blood pressure really just dropped out.
Well, the bus driver shortage is perhaps most apparent in Anne Arundel County. Fox 45 News received 2 videos of overcrowding on buses. Students left sitting and standing in the aisles. You can see that right there. Well, the county has added a route to fix one of those problems, but some are still looking for more long-term solutions.
It's a knee-jerk reaction. Let's bring attention to it. Uh-oh, everybody's looking. Let's send a second bus. Let's see how long that lasts. Because what happens when the bus driver calls out?
As of the start of this week, more than 40 routes were still out of service. Concerns about growing transparency within the Prince George's County school system. Brad Bell from our Sinclair sister station in Washington, D.C. takes us through the controversy.
Statistics, testing, and performance data have all shown that the pandemic has been hard on students and that learning has suffered. In June, data leaked to 7 News on Your Side showed that last year in Prince George's County for English across grades 3 through 10, a range of 11% to 36% of students are meeting expectations. For math, the scores decline through the grades from 38% meeting expectations in kindergarten to 2% in 7th grade and 0% in 8th grade. Our reporting now prompting a coalition of activists to demand answers from system CEO Monica Goldson.
We have real serious questions about what's going on behind the scenes.
Calling themselves the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, the activists sending this letter to Goldson, accusing her of, quote, an intentional effort to hide data and saying she has, quote, failed to comply with your obligations.
No one wants to be that critical of our leaders, but if they're not performing and doing the job that they say that they're doing, then we need to let them know.
Goldson has previously said the early data was shared prematurely and that she'll release a complete report of student performance next week. Today, her chief of staff responding to the activists and their letter.
We're not trying to hide information. We know our kids have had a tough couple of years, but they're going to get better. We're going to support them, and we'll do the assessments and analysis to make sure that we're on the right track.
Well, Fox 45 News is your back-to-school headquarters, and we are committed to investigating any problems your kids run into this year. Call our news tip line on your screen. You can also send us an email or chime in with your concerns. Now we want to get over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a check of the forecast. And Jasmine, it was feeling a little bit more like August to me this morning than September.
Yeah, Shannon, it seems like we just can't get rid of those summer temperatures. It's been a very hot start to the month of September, but we're actually getting a break from that heat, and that starts tomorrow, along with our next chance for showers and storms. But today it looks great if you plan on spending some time outside. We're off to a nice start, sitting at 67 over Baltimore. We're seeing partly cloudy skies, but in this shot, plenty of blue skies in the background. Winds at this time nice and calm. Temperatures across much of the state in the 60s and 70s. 72 in Westminster and Annapolis, but Ocean City at 73 is the high spot. Oakland in the low 60s, that is our low spot right now. Temperatures across the state will reach the upper 80s and even the low 90s in some areas. So it's going to be another hot day, and it's also going to be humid. You will notice that. Expect heat indices in the low 90s. Dew points today keep us in that uncomfortable range, and we'll stay there over the next 3 days. Then numbers start to drop as we head into the end of the week. Our temperatures by then will also start to rise, so it should be pretty pleasant heading into the weekend. Now we're watching this cold front. This is our next weather maker. You can see showers around that system. We do expect this to push toward our area tomorrow, and that's going to lead to our next chance for showers and storms. But today, we do stay dry. We'll have more clouds move in as we head into the afternoon. We're looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures reaching the 80s and 90s. Then overnight, we stay dry and mostly cloudy. We'll wake up to temperatures in the 60s and 70s around 7 a.m. We stay dry as we head into the early afternoon. There's the chance for a couple of stray showers and storms around 3 p.m., but later on, those rain chances increase, especially overnight and then into the day on Tuesday. We're looking at a very soggy pattern starting on Monday night, continuing on Tuesday, and more rain is expected on Wednesday. So make sure that you do have your umbrellas handy. You will likely need them as we start the upcoming work week. We're also keeping watch on the Atlantic Basin. We're keeping an eye on Danielle. That system is expected to remain over the open Atlantic and not be a threat to land. We're also keeping watch on Earl. That system is expected to remain over the open Atlantic as well. However, some of the islands could experience some heavy rain from the system. Right now, it doesn't look like it will affect the U.S. Today, though, we are nice and quiet here. If you're planning on heading to the fair, temperature is around 70s as we head into later today. Then in the afternoon, we're looking at highs in the upper 80s and the low 90s. After that, get ready for lower temperatures as we move forward. 86 on Monday, 80 on Tuesday, 81 on Wednesday with the chance for showers and storms on each day, 83 on Thursday, 86 on Friday. Then heading into Saturday, we stay mostly dry around 87. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Now to a bright spot for your morning. A baby white rhino born at the San Diego Zoo is offering new hope for the threatened species. The unnamed southern white rhino calf was born August 6th to a first-time mom and dad. Look at it there. It's so cute. Well, there are just 10,000 southern white rhinos in the wild, and that's as the northern subspecies is even more at risk with just 2 left. Crazy. Well, the San Diego Zoo says it's working to find a way to mate them using in vitro fertilization. Still, animal conservationists say all rhino births are significant and a cause for celebration. And speaking of animals, happy National Wildlife Day, if you didn't know. Today is to spread awareness about the endangered fauna around us and how we can help preserve them and save them. Zoos, aviaries, and other institutions are a great way to learn about the necessities of species at risk and conservation efforts that are taking place. You can share photos of you celebrating the holiday and the wildlife in your neighborhood, and you can just use the hashtag National Wildlife Day. Maryland football lives by the motto, the best is ahead, and that's the case on this edition of Sports Unlimited. A full slate of college football action on tap. That's coming up next. It's 7:51. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Welcome into the Morning Sports Report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. On Saturdays from now until December, college football will take over television sets across the nation. The big plays, the hard hits, and of course, a ton of upsets. It's all back. Noon kickoff in College Park as Mike Loxley and the Terps played host to Buffalo, and Roman Hemby was running wild. Fans are still getting to their seats at this point, and the John Carroll product breaks off a 33-yard run straight to the house. Terps take a 7-0 lead. And that was just the start of a big day for Hemby. Terps with a 17-7 lead at half in the third. Hemby shot out of a cannon, 70 yards to the house. He finished the game with 7 carries, 114 yards, and 2 scores. Dante Demas Jr. caught 3 passes in his return to the field as the Terps take care of Buffalo, 31-10 the final. Let's go to Annapolis. Navy trailing Delaware 7-0 in the third. That's where the Blue Hens strike again. Chandler Harvin gets behind everybody, and Nolan Henderson hits him in stride for the 51-yard score. Later in the quarter, Navy knocking at the door. Ty Lavatai goes up and over to make it a 1-possession game, but Navy falls in the season opener 14-7. Morgan State taking on Georgia Southern in Damon Wilson's debut. And this will put a smile on the face of the new Bears head coach. Jordan Tolles with a pick six. The Bears would tie the game at 7. Morgan State would trail 17-7 at half, and they go on to fall in this one, 59-7, the final score. Towson taking on Bucknell, and we'll fast forward to the good part. This one went to OT. 4th and 8 for the Tigers, and they convert. Tyrell Pigram finds Isaiah Perkins for the first down. Devin Matthews punches it in to give Towson the lead. Tigers would make their extra point. Bison would answer, but they would miss theirs. So Towson wins an OT thriller, 14-13 the final score. Bowie State scored 20 in the 4th to beat New Haven 27-20. With 9 seconds to go, Dion Galat Jr. found Quincy Hall for the 9-yard score to make it a 25-20 game, 2-point conversion good, and Kyle Jackson gets the win in his interim head coaching debut. Division III action, McDaniel falls to Catholic in its season opener, 37-27 the final. Johns Hopkins on the road taking on Western Reserve, and the Blue Jays got off to a very hot start. Ryan Stevens connects with Artie Collins for the 43-yard touchdown. Stevens went 27-34, 314 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The Blue Jays soar in their season opener, 54-14 the final. Stevenson kicking off its season on the road, taking on St. Vincent. Mustangs on to punt. Maleo Irefin fields it at the 15, makes a few Mustangs miss, and he gone. 85-yard house call puts St. Vincent on top, but the Mustangs would answer back. Brandon Walker finds pay dirt from 6 yards out to give Stevenson the lead, and the Mustangs go on to win it 25-21 the final. So as MLB's regular season winds down, the postseason push will only heat up. 3 teams from the American League will earn wildcard berths, and the O's hope to be one of them. Birds back in action with the A's entering the night 1.5 games out of that 3rd spot. Bottom 1. 1 on for Ryan Mountcastle, and he conquers the left field wall. No doubt about that one. The 2-run shot, his 20th of the year, and the O's take a 2-0 lead. The very next batter, that's Gunnar Henderson, and he stays hot with a single. Henderson with a hit in each of his first 4 games. Heck of a way to start the career. Back to Mountcastle. Bottom 3, runner on first, already homered to left, and he's just spraying the baseball to the outfield. How about one to right? That marks his 6th multi-homer game of his career. And then check this out. DL Hall, making his first MLB relief appearance in the 8th, retires the side and strikes out 2. He is absolutely fired up. O's beat the A's 8-1 the final, but with the Blue Jays win over the Pirates, the O's didn't gain any ground. Some of the best cyclists from around the world will be right here in Baltimore on Sunday for the Maryland Cycling Classic. And if you can't be there today in person, we got you covered. We'll be airing the event on CW Baltimore today from 1:30 to 6:30 p.m. So be sure to tune in. That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Sunday.
New details rise following a deadly shooting in Mervo High School's parking lot. What we're learning about the suspect and victim as another young life is cut short.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Taking a live look over Towson right now, clear skies to start your morning. We appreciate you being here on this Sunday, September 4th. I'm Shannon Lilly. We want to get you right to your forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine, it was a little bit warm when I stepped outside this morning. I'm okay with it. I know you're not so happy about those temperatures, though.
No, I'm just so ready for those fall temperatures. It's been a very hot start to September, but if you do like those warm temperatures, today should be a good day for you. If you're waiting on lower numbers, those are also going to come this week. Currently, we sit at 71 over Towson. It feels like 72, so already starting to see a rise in that humidity. We've got nice and calm winds at this time. Across the state, we're mainly seeing those temperatures in the 60s and the low 70s. Not too bad at this time, but those numbers will continue to rise. Today, we're looking at highs in the upper 80s, which is above average for this time of year. So it is going to be a hot day and a little humid at times. Then tomorrow, we're talking the mid 80s, so temperatures start to fall. We're also looking at the next chance for showers and storms on your Labor Day Monday. Then heading into Tuesday, even lower temperatures, 80 degrees, around 80, with the next chance for showers. I'll break down the timing of the rain coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. Well, the victim has been identified in Friday's deadly shooting outside Mervo High School. A 17-year-old is now charged with his murder. Police are still investigating what sparked the fatal encounter between two teenage students. Riel Creighton has the latest details.
Investigators combing the campus Friday, a community in mourning. Tonight, as the victim of a deadly daytime shooting here at Mervo High, known to most as Mervo, is identified. Another student sharing this picture of Jeremiah Brogdon, the 17-year-old shot in the parking lot of his high school. The junior football player, his team tweeting out this message. Our hearts are heavy today as we mourn the loss of our student athlete, Jeremiah Brogdon. Senseless and unexplainable. Just after 2:30, his murder at Mervo happening right at dismissal. A 15-year-old telling us off camera they watched it all unfold.
Someone shooting. And I just saw the kids like dispersed all over the place. They were just running from here and there, left and right. So I'm just looking like, and I didn't see anyone, I mean, just kids running.
People who live near the school describing the panic that broke out in the moments after the gunfire. A 17-year-old student who attended a different high school, now charged with first-degree murder. Fox 45 News is not identifying him because of his age. Police say he confronted Brogdon outside after a brief encounter, pulled a gun and fired. Witnesses say the teen was shot in the head as the suspect fled. City Schools police already on school grounds, catching him within minutes. They also recovered a gun.
Beyond tragic, happening on the grounds of a school.
City and school officials flooding this scene Friday.
In the beginning of the school year as school is open.
Emotion high.
This is a tragedy that almost has me at a loss for words.
The same high school Mayor Brandon Scott graduated from.
A school full of children who are crying yet again because they lost another classmate.
Mervo students calling it a high security school with a history of violence. Now, so many of them witnesses, kids facing the trauma, the murder of a teenager, a fellow student, to mark the end to the first week of school.
City Schools CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises said the school's safety plan was in place at the time of that shooting, which is why schools police were able to catch the suspect so quickly. Meantime, she also says grief counselors will be in place at the school. Turning now to Maryland's race for governor. Candidates Wes Moore and Dan Cox have recently agreed to square off in their first debate next month ahead of the November election. Well, the debate will be televised on October 12th on Maryland Public Television. And joining us now, political analyst John Deedy, here to weigh in. John, good morning.
Good morning.
So we have two very different candidates vying to be Maryland's next governor. What can we expect from this upcoming debate?
I think what we're going to expect is for Mr. Moore to outline what he's going to do for the people of Maryland, more outline an agenda, because a lot of people are very leery of Dan Cox, but they're going to need a little bit more of a reason to vote for Wes Moore instead of maybe saying, you know, I'm just going to skip the governor's race as far as who to vote for. For Dan Cox, he's going to have the bigger challenge, and that's trying to bring in a lot of people who have voted for Hogan a couple times and a variety of other people to say, you know, I'm comfortable with Dan Cox. The problem is that's not Dan Cox's MO. Last night, instead of being in Maryland, he was at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania.
Wow. So what topics do you think for each of them should be their main focus during this debate then?
I think the main focus is really going to be, what are you going to do to help the city of Baltimore? And that's going to be the big focus. We've seen the horrific crime situation, and how are you going to help fix these problems? It's going to take a lot of financial resources. Are you going to put money aside for safe street programs? Are you going to put money aside to hire more police officers? What is going to be the overall things you're going to do? Also, are you going to invest in the Red Line as far as improving infrastructure in Baltimore? Wes Moore has indicated very strongly that's something he's looking at. So I think Baltimore is going to be the center of this, because really the road to the governorship goes through Baltimore and the Baltimore region.
Yeah, and going along with that, we know a lot of people have already made up their minds about who they want to vote for. Do you think that this debate could change how people vote, or is it already pretty much set in stone?
What I think it's going to change is Wes Moore going to win 60-40 or 70-30? If Wes Moore goes into this debate and basically people say, I'm comfortable with him, I may not be a Democrat, I may not like some of his policies, but I'm comfortable with him and he'll be competent and do a good job. He doesn't scare me. The problem is Dan Cox scares a lot of people because of the fact that he was involved in the January 6th thing as far as organizing a bus to go down to Washington, D.C. during the insurrection. Also, the fact that he really cannot account for where he was and what he was doing on January 6th. And with some of the stuff regarding President Trump recently, the thing is the January 6th Commission is meeting in December, and a lot more stuff's going to come out. So Dan Cox is going to have a big road to try to make people feel reassured. The problem is he may not be able to do that.
All right. Well, we will continue to just watch and see. Political analyst Sean Deedy, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
A teenager is shot dead after a football game in Pikesville. What community members are saying about that tragedy?
And we're in for an uncomfortably hot day today. We're keeping those dew points in the uncomfortable range, and we'll stay there over the next few days. I'll break down how long the humidity lasts and just how hot temperatures will be for Labor Day coming up in my full forecast.
A 14-year-old boy is dead and another child injured after a shooting Friday night in Pikesville, not far from Milford Mill Academy. The shooting happened around 9:30 along Liberty Road and Washington Avenue. Police say the school's football game had ended when that shooting occurred.
This 14-year-old boy just lost his life after a game. It just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense whatsoever.
I'm afraid to send my 14-year-old back to school this week coming up.
Well, we are waiting to hear back from Baltimore County Schools on whether the victim was a student of Milford Mill High School. So far, we have not received a response. We've also received an update on a separate event Friday night at a Tholton High School in Columbia. The school's principal says a metal fence and sign were knocked down as students left the football game, which some people mistook for gunfire. Police say there were no serious injuries, but they did cancel the remainder of the game. Making headlines this morning, one person is dead and 4 others are injured following a shooting in PG County. Police say someone opened fire inside a 7-Eleven last night. Currently, there is no word on the shooter. In Minnesota, the state fair closes early after a shooting. Hundreds of people were seen fleeing the Midway after the gunfire yesterday. Police say one person was shot and was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Governor Tim Walz tweeted his appreciation to law enforcement for responding to reports of violence. Download the Fox 45 News app for up-to-the-minute breaking news, traffic conditions, and school closings and weather anytime. Just search WBFF in your app store. A Soviet leader laid to rest. More on Gorbachev's memorial service and which prominent leader was too busy to attend. A narcotics fugitive is on the run. More on the dangerous pursuit in this week's Maryland Most Wanted. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. A drug sting turns into a high-speed chase through Baltimore County, and now federal authorities have joined the search for a fugitive wanted in the multi-state narcotics ring. Alexa Ashwell has this week's Maryland's Most Wanted.
Authorities say this man helped pump drugs into local communities throughout the greater Baltimore region. Joseph Parker is wanted on drug trafficking charges. Authorities say he led police on a high-speed chase when they tried to arrest him. And now the U.S. Marshals Service needs your help tracking him down.
June 2022, Baltimore County's Nottingham community.
Investigators say 41-year-old Joseph Donta Parker is sitting inside of his car, waiting as a USPS driver places a package on the front step of a home, and unaware police are watching.
And as part of this joint investigation, they conducted an undercover operation.
Inside the package is 8 pounds of PCP, a highly addictive hallucinogen. Drugs police discovered were being shipped into Maryland through the mail as part of a multi-state drug trafficking ring. So it was coming in from out of state. How long do you believe that activity was going on before MSP intercepted?
For somebody to ship over 8 pounds of PCP through the mail, that shows you just how comfortable they are with the processes they have in place and the belief that they're not going to get caught.
On this day, police determined to dismantle the ring. Investigators say Parker retrieves the package, gets back into his car, and begins to drive off. That's when police move in.
Officers, they pulled behind him and they attempted to stop him. He took them on a high-speed chase.
But Parker takes off, leading police on a pursuit.
He was spinning his wheels and driving erratically.
That became so dangerous, officers were forced to call off the chase. Parker gets away and hasn't been seen for nearly 3 months.
The leads have run dry.
Al Maresca is the deputy marshal with the U.S. Marshal Service. He says Parker is from Columbia, Maryland, but also has ties to Baltimore County and has an extensive criminal history.
It's very important to understand that this individual has a history going all the way back to 1996 that includes drug arrests, weapons possessions.
Maresca on the ring, accused of pumping poison into local communities. Drugs, he says, often leading to violence.
While the drugs may be a social ill, the violence and the crime that comes with those drugs is a problem that we need to lay to rest immediately. Wherever there's drugs, there's guns. Wherever there's guns, there's the potential for violence.
Investigators stressing Parker must be brought to justice.
There is absolutely reason to believe he's continuing to participate in an ongoing criminal enterprise.
Take a good look. Parker stands at about 5'9" and weighs approximately 200 pounds. Again, authorities believe he's still in the greater Baltimore region. So if you have any information to his whereabouts, you can contact the tip line number right here, 1-877-WANTED-2. Or you can contact Maresca directly, his number right here, 202-819-5058. Remember, you can always remain anonymous and you could earn a reward. I'm Alexa Ashwell, and this is Maryland's Most Wanted.
Thanks, Alexa. Now we want to get over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax for the check of the forecast. And Jasmine, are we looking like a day that we can spend outside? Is it nice outside, or what can we expect for the holiday weekend?
Yeah, Shannon, it looks like a very nice day today, but for anyone planning to spend some time outside tomorrow, you will have to be aware of a couple of possible showers and storms. But today we stay dry. Currently, we sit at 71 with partly cloudy skies over Baltimore. It feels like 72, so it is a little bit muggy now, and that will continue throughout the day. Winds are calm, so overall a pretty quiet start here and around the rest of the state. Temperatures are mainly in the 60s and 70s. Annapolis is the high spot on the map, currently at 74. Oakland, Maryland at 64, 10 degrees lower over there. But we'll all see a nice warm up as we move into the afternoon as temperatures reach the upper 80s. Some areas could even hit the low 90s, but for all of us, we're talking higher heat indices. It's going to be hot and a little bit sticky at times. Then as we head into Labor Day tomorrow, temperatures won't be as high, but we are talking our next chance for showers and storms. That'll be followed by a stretch of below average days, so we'll finally get more fall-like weather. It'll start to feel a little more like September. And it's all because of this weather maker. We're keeping watch on this cold front. You can see a few showers ahead of that. That will head our way on Tuesday, but before then, we have the chance for a few stray showers tomorrow and rain on Tuesday. Notice today we'll have more clouds move in by the afternoon, but we do stay dry as those temperatures reach the 80s and the 90s. If you are spending some time outside, make sure to practice heat safety and stay hydrated. As we head overnight, we stay mostly dry and we'll wake up to mostly cloudy skies tomorrow morning. As we head into the afternoon, there's the chance for a few stray showers and storms, but our rain chances will pick up overnight. Continuing into Tuesday, it looks like it will be a pretty soggy day. That's when you may need your umbrellas. Meanwhile, we're keeping watch on the Atlantic Basin as we continue the 2022 hurricane season. We're keeping watch on Danielle, which is expected to remain over the open Atlantic, and we're also watching Earl. That system could lead to areas of heavy rain across some islands, but it's expected to make a curve into the open Atlantic, not being a threat to the United States. If you are heading to the fair, we're looking at high temperatures reaching the upper 80s and low 90s. Just be mindful that it will be a little sticky at times. Otherwise, it should be a great day to spend some time outside. 86 tomorrow for Labor Day, and not a complete washout, but there is that chance for stray showers and storms during the afternoon. Then 80 on Tuesday with rain, 81 on Wednesday with more showers, 83 on Thursday. Then we dry out heading into the weekend as our temperatures reach the mid to upper 80s. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. The Maryland State Fair rolls on, and we are getting a taste of the action. Look at that. Some of the award-winning dishes from a delicious day in Timonium. And world-class athletes are showcasing their talents in Baltimore today. What Maryland leaders hope to gain from hosting some of cycling's best. It is 8:21. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Former President Trump at his first rally since last month's FBI raid of his home in Mar-a-Lago. Investigators seized thousands of documents in the search, including more than 100 with classified and top secret markings. Trump didn't provide an explanation for why he had the documents. He characterized the raid and search warrant as part of a conspiracy by political opponents and lashed out at the law enforcement agencies involved.
The FBI and the Justice Department have become vicious monsters, controlled by radical left scoundrels, lawyers, and the media who tell them what to do, you people right there, and when to do it.
Trump also decried his invasion of privacy and criticized investigators for searching his wife's closet and son's room. Former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev was buried in Moscow today. The Kremlin refused to formally declare a state funeral, and President Vladimir Putin claimed he was too busy to attend. Gorbachev's body was displayed for public viewing at the House of the Unions, an opulent 18th century mansion near the Kremlin used as a venue for state funerals since Soviet times. The turnout was large enough for viewing to be extended 2 hours. After the viewing, Gorbachev's body was buried next to his wife. Well, it will likely be weeks before the launch of NASA's Artemis moon rocket. It's the second time that NASA had to scrub a launch due to technical problems. The first was on Monday. NASA says a liquid hydrogen leak was found, but in a different part of the 322-foot rocket. Officials say they may need to roll it off its launch pad to fix the problem, and that could push the launch date to October. It's NASA's first moon mission in 50 years. All right, weekend number 2 of the Maryland State Fair rolls on in, and it's all about the ponies. Our friends over at Horseland brought a few of their favorites to the fair, giving people an up-close look at what it takes to race horses and prepare them to race. Our Amy Aronson caught up with Don Litz from Horseland to talk about the fair experience.
The main theme is for children to interact with animals, maybe for the first time in their lives.
Of course. I know you guys are about the same size, this little pony and this little girl here. They are so cute. And of course, we know this little guy wants to get back with his mama. They are bonded. You said you can find them in the same stall when you walk through?
You can see them. You can see them at the same stall. We have a lot of giveaways, stick horses for children to make, a lot of activities for children.
Oh my gosh, so adorable. Well, plenty of cool things to check out, but what if you want something to eat? We've got you covered. Amy also caught up with the guys from the Maryland Food Pavilion to check out some of the award-winning food offered at today's festivities. It's going to make you hungry.
We won first place in it's the whole new thing for the Food Pavilion this year, coming up with something different. This is an open-faced grilled cheese sandwich with fried green tomatoes and a peach corn salsa.
Wow.
It's a meal all in itself.
I bet it is. Very clever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure lots went into preparing that.
It took a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and we got some great people who work with us who put it together, and everybody seems to love it. People are coming every day. One lady here has bought one every day this week.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay,
it's really
awesome.
great.
Okay, we're moving down the line. Let's talk about these nachos. Introduce yourself to everybody at home.
My name's Jeff Martinez, and we run Charm City Flats here in the Maryland Food Pavilion. And we were looking to create something that people could share here at the fair, so we came up with Mountain Nacho. It's all 3 of our meats: pulled pork, chicken, and taco beef, cheese, and all the fixins, big enough for 3, 4, 5 people to share.
Whole family, yeah.
Well, from food to sports, today athletes will be descending on Baltimore to take part in the inaugural Maryland Cycling Classic. The field includes Olympians, Tour de France racers, and is expected to draw in big crowds. Taking a look at that 120-mile course, the race will start in Baltimore County, then drop into the city through Falls Road. Maryland's Secretary of Commerce says this event will showcase the state as an ideal host for world-class sporting events.
This is a big deal. You know, it's the Masters, it's the PGA for our country in the sport of cycling. And how important is that for all of us? So from a standpoint of Maryland and these big deal events, they're fabulous.
Well, it all starts today at 1:30 p.m. and the riders will arrive downtown around 6. If you can't see the race in person, we have got you covered. You can watch our special coverage of that race on the CW Baltimore. After the break, city faith leaders are weighing in on what can be done to decrease crime rates. It's 8:28.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning. Here is your live look over in the Inner Harbor. It's a beautiful start to your morning. We want to thank you so much for being here on this Sunday, September 4th. I'm Shannon Lilly. Let's get you right to your forecast with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine, it sounds like we're talking hot weather today and maybe some storms tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people call this the last unofficial week of summer, and it will feel like that today as high temperatures approach 90 degrees. But tomorrow it won't be as hot, and there could even be a couple of showers and storms for your Labor Day forecast. Today, that looks great for spending time outside. We're sitting at 71 with partly cloudy skies over Towson. Winds at this time are calm, and it's pretty quiet across the rest of the state. We're seeing those numbers mainly in the 60s and in the low 70s. Annapolis, one of the high spots right now in the mid 70s. Oakland, about 10 degrees cooler in the mid 60s. Now we're watching this cold front. This is going to be our next weather maker. You can see a few showers and storms. That's what's heading our way tomorrow and on Tuesday. That'll lead to our next chance for rain. But today we are looking at hot temperatures and also very muggy conditions. We're staying in that uncomfortable range for the next few days. Then our dew points will start to drop as our temperatures rise by the weekend, looking pretty pleasant then. I'll break down what you can expect for the upcoming week coming up in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Sounds good, Jasmine. Thanks. Now to the crisis in the classroom. At least a dozen guns were seized from city schools over the past year, including 4 ghost guns. But at a recent city council meeting to discuss school safety, the topic of guns wasn't brought up. So Fox 45 took those questions to council members, again, asking where leaders need to step up to help protect Baltimore's children. In a conversation with our Keith Daniels, Councilman Robert Stokes says the solution is not very simple.
So that has to come from Annapolis.
Right, but will you be pressuring the local school board to pressure those people in Annapolis?
I will call each individual on the school board and have a conversation with them about that. Absolutely.
Well, the devastating shooting comes as a shock for students during what should be a time of optimism. Shelley Orman looks at what Baltimore faith leaders believe can be done to stop the violence and save lives.
You can hear the panic.
This is school police. They're on the parking lot and they need a medic for a victim.
405, we are in the back parking lot of Mervo. We are on Tivoli in the back parking lot. He is shot in the head.
A Mervo High School student murdered in the school parking lot, shot by a student who police say attends a different school. The violence happening after an argument Friday as classes dismissed.
Both have enough of an argument that one goes and gets a gun, leaves their school, comes to another, and kills somebody in front of witnesses. Logic, ration, emotion, conscience, all of that is gone.
If we're talking about conflict resolution, if that's the justification and explanation for this young man's behavior and his choice, then conflict resolution is first learned in the home.
Shannon Wright and PM Smith are both pastors in Baltimore.
What is going on in our city that children, babies, still babies, are in a place where they think that's okay. That's the way to solve your problem.
As a result of this, you got 2 young men whose lives are lost, 2 mothers whose hearts are broken, 2 families who are destroyed by the loss of that death.
Both are calling for more from parents.
We need parents to step up.
Consequences for bad choices are learned in the family.
Parents need to parent, the police need to police, the teachers need to teach, and the leaders need to lead.
And both also say city leaders are failing.
They have shown that they are not up to the task. It is up to each of us individually as residents to be able to be a part of the solution. We need to make sure that we have school resource officers that are armed in the buildings. I know a lot of folks say we don't want that around our babies, but our babies are already bringing it into school, and prevention is better than cure.
Because this shooting happened outside the school, officers were armed. They're not allowed to carry guns inside the buildings.
If this assault had occurred 30 minutes earlier, the Baltimore City School Police would have been in the building without a weapon.
Pastor Smith says officers should be commended for their actions Friday.
They responded immediately. They caught the young man. They arrested him without incident. They secured the weapon. They cleared the murder scene and rendered assistance to the young man who was injured. Let the police, the school police do what they're willing to do. Stop handcuffing our police officers and let them do what they're willing to do. Our officers, our public office holders, are words and not action, and that's not enough.
Shelley Orman, Fox 45 News.
Well, we have seen one brazen murder to another, just like that recent killing at Mervo High School. But with summer now winding down, will the changing season be enough to slow the violence? Well, this summer has been particularly violent. The city saw 39 homicides in June, the highest number in a generation. In July, 35 lives were lost to violence, the third deadliest since July of 2013. In August, Baltimore City saw 26 homicides. Well, joining us now to weigh in, former FBI agent Dr. Tyrone Powers. Dr. Powers, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we are coming off of another violent month, and the mayor, we've heard him say that it wasn't as violent a month, though, as August of 2021. But what is your take on that in the state of the city right now?
Yeah, it's a tragedy. The amount of violence is unacceptable. Obviously, the lives being lost and taken, and we can't get to the point where we're just giving excuses or giving explanations, and again, press conference after press conference where we don't really have answers to it. We've got to stop the bleeding. I mean, we have to have prevention intervention programs. We have to have programs that allow young people to go in another direction. But the problem with this type of violence, and history indicates and dictates this, is that once you start having it, nobody feels safe. And when people doesn't feel safe, you have more people carrying guns, more young people feeling that the only way to protect themselves or to deal with issues is through gun violence. So if you stop the bleeding, then you stop that philosophy. If people don't feel safe, then everyone is paranoid, everyone is in fear. You have a lot of young people who are thinking that the norm is to have a gun. The norm is to resort to violence when you're in these particular situations, and not only here in Baltimore, but across the nation. So you've got to come up with ways to stop the violence. No more excuses or explanations, but police tactics and other tactics that have shown historically to be effective to stop the bleeding right now.
Right. So it's a domino effect. And we know violence, though, tends to increase over the summer. Do you think things will get better as we move into the fall months?
Yeah, I think it's a faulty philosophy when you're expecting the weather to actually end violence. Individuals don't commit crime because it's hot or cold. They're just in closer proximity during the summer months. But the fact of the matter is the underlying reason for the violence, the fact that there's so many guns on the street, the fact that the gun trace task force has been disbanded because of bad people, but we do need a gun trace task force to go after these particular guns, will not change because of seasons. And if your policing philosophy or your crime reduction philosophy is relying on a change of weather, then we're in for more difficult times, because that means you accept the fact that even if there is some increase, which I don't necessarily, decrease rather, which I don't think it will be, then we can expect an increase next summer. And if that's your crime plan, then we are really in trouble. There are plans that work. There are things that we can do immediately, effectively, that will work to stop the bleeding, even as we work on prevention, intervention, and redirection of our young people and others.
And real quick, what are some of those plans? What should leaders be doing right now?
Every single policing philosophy has to be involved in getting guns off the street. I know people, the whole philosophy that it's the individual's mindset, it's not necessarily the guns, but historically, when you've reduced the number of guns through every means necessary, through a full-blown approach with every agency, then you've reduced the amount of violence and the amount of murders in a particular city. So that has to be a major part of your process. You need another gun trace task force. You just don't need the corruption and the violence that was involved with that gun trace task force, and every agency has to be focused on that, along with stopping carjackings, expanding your force multipliers by using other police agencies, and the intervention and prevention aspects of getting into the lives of young people.
Well, Dr. Tyrone Powers, thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, one group of Marylanders is turning back the clock. How a trip to the past is helping them gain a greater appreciation for life.
And here's a look at temperatures across the country. We're seeing 90s over toward Phoenix, and that's close to where we're headed this afternoon. I'll let you know how hot it gets and what to expect for Labor Day coming up in my full forecast.
Well, the Houston Texans are paying tribute to the Uvalde community this NFL season. Head coach Lovie Smith and 2 players surprised the Uvalde high school varsity football team with an in-person visit Thursday night. The Texans announced they will wear a Uvalde Strong helmet decal for their home opener against the Indianapolis Colts on September 11th. Football players and team officials donated a total of $400,000 to the Robb School Memorial Fund. It's hoped this will help the community heal after 19 children and 2 teachers were killed during a mass shooting at the elementary school back in May. Well, here's a look at today's steals and deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
You guys, I have a product that solves a pet peeve so many of us have when we jump in our car. The cup holder that isn't big enough to hold your cup, your water bottle, your coffee. You know exactly what I'm talking about. This is the solution. This is the Cup Captain from Sharper Image. It's a 2-in-1 cup holder that rotates 360 degrees and doubles your storage space. You just twist to fit any size cup holder right here, and it locks it in place so nothing will tip. Now, here's my favorite part. You know, you all have this water bottle that doesn't fit in the cup holder, and it rolls around on the ground, on your lap. It's annoying. This will adjust to fit large or small. So gone are the days of your water bottle falling on the floor and clanking around. This expands and contracts to fit any size cup, just right. And the great news is that it's not just for drinks. The Cup Captain is perfect for all kinds of things. It holds food containers, tablets right here, even your wallet. We all have these organizational systems for our desks, our nightstands, our kitchens, our closets. Why wouldn't we have that same approach to an area we spend so much time in? Our cars. It's perfect for kids in the back holding their snacks and their tablets. And we're offering 25% off today, you guys. And it's a 2-pack. To take advantage of this deal and save money, go to asadeals.com.
Well, have you ever wondered what life would have been like in Baltimore if you were born centuries earlier? Fox 45's Megan Gilland and photojournalist Chris Musil dig into the past to discover Baltimore's original story in a very unusual place.
1, 2, 3.
293 years of history.
All right, we're in business.
And when you go digging up the past...
That's a bird skull. I know it's a rat skull. It's a little rat.
You might find some skeletons in the closet.
Coming up.
I mean, toilet.
This is like our 2-year anniversary, actually, honestly. Privy digging. So we've started with not knowing what the hell we were doing coming down. And they're built well. They're sturdy. Like, it's crazy to think about. You never would have known these were here.
Evan Woodard,
I'm going to take some photos myself now.
an historian and relic hunter, digs up old outhouses.
All these homes that were once here, they're all now gone.
At least on the surface.
But in reality, like right below their feet, there's like these, huge holes that were once like someone's outhouse. This is where people lived at. This is where people, had their families. We can look at like old Sanborn maps and start mapping out everything, and we can measure it out to like an inch, and it'd be exactly where it needs to be at.
Today, his team is taking a deep dive down the hole.
No smell, thankfully. When they're this dry, they don't stink at all.
Plunging 15 to 30 feet underground in the Greater Baltimore Urban League parking lot.
It's an old neighborhood. It's a historically old neighborhood. I want to take you to a neighborhood that you've probably never been to.
A crowd of intrigued spectators gathers.
Most people have that curiosity. Like, what's under the ground? Who knows?
This is all by definition junk. Like, this isn't stuff that people wanted to save. And I don't know why that's so interesting now.
We're at the bottom. It's like natural hard ground like you're standing on up there.
Piece by piece, history is unearthed.
Oh, hell yeah.
Not all finds are treasures.
Are those teeth back there?
Can I see? A dentist would sure like to clean those.
And some are downright creepy.
Look at the babies' faces, though. These are a little creepy, huh?
Oh, by a little, you mean a lot. Oh, my God.
You're going to see that in your dreams?
But each brings a story to the table.
That is a large casing. That's like 1880s, 1890s.
It's Baltimore's story.
Corn, Mick, and
Flavor, you could add the cakes and stuff.
Bromo seltzer.
They're like in history. I like it. That's the whole point.
From bottles and bones to fine china.
We can find all the pieces for it. I mean, something that small, it's pretty unique. It has a pattern on it that we can figure out.
Found the other half of the tin. It's so cool because you can just see how people lived and what they used.
Now people can actually see something come out of the ground and understand like what's happening, and they have an idea of what it's like.
Oh. Lessons that will live on.
We're actually documenting, going through the whole steps and logging everything. They can envision it when they're driving through now, seeing everything.
Imagining what life was like.
All right, cool, thanks.
Right here, so many years ago, in Baltimore.
Yeah, we're done.
I'm Megan Gilland, Fox 45 News.
Wow, that is so cool. Well, we want to get over to meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine, are they going to have good weather to continue unearthing all these treasures in Baltimore?
Yeah, Shannon, it should be pretty nice today. It will be a little hot, though, and sticky by the afternoon, but we do stay nice and dry. Currently, we sit at 71 with partly cloudy skies over Baltimore. It feels like 72 with calm winds. And across the rest of the state, not seeing much variation in those numbers. Most of us in the upper 60s through the mid-70s. Annapolis is one of the high spots on the map at this time. As we continue over the next 3 days, we're actually looking at a falling trend in those numbers. 89 for the high today. We stay dry. 86 with a chance for a few spotty showers and storms for Labor Day. And then on Tuesday, temperatures only around 80 degrees with the chance for more showers on the way. So we have a weather maker heading our way, and that's this cold front. You can see a few showers associated with that system. That will continue to drive south tomorrow and into Tuesday. That will lead to our next chance for storms tomorrow, followed by more rain as we head into Tuesday. Today, though, we stay dry, and it should be great for spending some time outside. Temperatures reach the upper 80s and low 90s, and we're looking at a few more clouds moving in by the afternoon. Then we stay dry overnight, waking up to mostly cloudy skies, though, once we head to about 7 a.m. Then as we make our way into the afternoon, there's the chance for a few stray showers and storms, but our rain chances will pick up overnight and into Tuesday, so expect a soggy day on Tuesday. You will need the umbrellas that day and the rain gear. Also be sure to add some extra time to your commute because you are looking at a wet one, at least in the morning. We're also keeping watch on Danielle. That system's continuing to move over the open Atlantic. It will not be a threat to land. We're also keeping watch on Earl, which could have an impact on some of the islands, leading to heavy rain there. But it is going to make a curve into the open Atlantic. Most models keep it away from the U.S., and therefore it will not be a threat to us. 89 for the temperature today. Then as we head into the rest of the week, we're looking at those numbers falling, especially on Labor Day. 86, 80 on Tuesday, 81 on Wednesday, 83 as we head into Thursday. Then by the weekend, we warm up and we dry out. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Jasmine. Let's go live now to Camden Yards as the fans celebrating an Orioles win following last night's game. This is the O's fourth win in a row as the team is vying for a playoff spot. Really, every game from here on out is now critical for the Orioles to make that dream become a reality. Well, some highlights about last night's game. More than 30,000 fans packed the stands at Camden Yards to cheer on the hometown team as the postseason push continues. Entering the night, the O's needed at least 2 more wins on top of the Blue Jays, losing to help secure the final wild card spot. After a few home runs at Camden Yards, the O's won their 4th straight game, beating the Athletics 8-1. But since the Blue Jays also won, they still need 2 more wins for a chance in the playoffs. Before the season ends, they play the Toronto Blue Jays 10 times. Now a bright spot for your morning. A baby white rhino right here is born at the San Diego Zoo, and it's offering new hope for the threatened species. The unnamed southern white rhino calf was born August 6th to a first-time mom and dad. Look at it there. He's so cute. Well, there are just 10,000 southern white rhinos in the wild. That's as the northern subspecies is even more at risk with just 2 left. The San Diego Zoo says it's working to find a way to mate them using in vitro fertilization. Still, animal conservationists say all rhino births are significant and a cause for celebration. Well, a calm start to our Sunday morning. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax has an update on whether we could see showers this Labor Day.
Well, the extended weekend is almost over, but today looks great for spending time outside. We're already off to a nice and quiet start. We've got partly cloudy skies over Baltimore. Temperatures heading to the upper 80s and low 90s this afternoon with a mix of sunshine and clouds. Then tomorrow, 86 for Labor Day with the chance for a few afternoon showers and storms. Rain chances increase on Tuesday as our next cold front arrives. 80 for that temperature. 81 on Wednesday with another chance for showers, 83 on Thursday. Then as we head into the weekend, our temperatures rise above average. Once again, it starts to feel a little warmer, but will stay mostly dry on Friday and on Saturday.
Unofficial last weekend of summer. I cannot believe that. That makes me so sad. I know you are happy about it,
so
though.
Happy. It's been so hot. I'm ready for, you know, those nice fall temperatures. We always say September 1st is the start of meteorological fall. But it's just been so
It's been hot. It's been hot. So I'm okay with it. I'm excited about the less humidity, but not so excited about the cold weather.
I mean, you know, we're going to be in the low 80s over the next few days. I'm excited for that. I think that's bearable, but we do have rain.
Oh, well, enjoy the nice day today and enjoy your extended weekend. Thanks for joining us.